WSKID, Skid Row Radio.
You're listening to radio station WSKID.
Okay, so it was kind of frustratingly ironic that yesterday in my video on the riots, most of the comments I was getting were kind of reminding me to look at the bigger picture, because that video didn't look at that. It just looked at what started it off, and then a little bit of, talking to the looters kind of thing. Now, at the same time as being pissed off at the looters individually and collectively even, at the same time as, wanting to communicate to them why it's ridiculous and counterproductive to do what they're doing, you can still take a step back, zoom out, and look at why that situation has got to where it is. And that's the argument that I was having on Twitter and Facebook all day yesterday, which makes it ironic that the comments I was getting on the video that didn't address that factor were reminding me to look at the bigger picture. I'll leave a link to my Twitter in the lower bar. You can go follow me if you're not already and have a look at the stuff I was saying on there yesterday. And on Facebook as well. I was talking to some friends that are in the police force, and some friends that also shared a link to a petition that has now come out that is doing the rounds. And last time I checked yesterday, it was over 40,000 signatures already. Now, this was a petition to the government to say that anybody caught looting or rioting, I don't even know if it made the distinction between looting and rioting. I'll leave a link in the lower bar for everything that I'm talking about today. Saying that anybody who got caught should have their benefits cut. That's pretty insulting and ridiculous on the face of it. First of all, you're assuming that these people that are doing the looting aren't working and they're on benefits. Not necessarily true. Secondly, it's fucking idiotic. Right, so your way of dealing with these people that are on the fringes, obviously, of poverty, a lot of them at least, yes, they've got Blackberries, some of them apparently, but, let's try not to make generalisations here. It's not rich people going and looting shops, is it? Okay, so your idea of how to deal with this is to cut the only source of legitimate income that some of these people might have, and that's going to stop crime somehow. That's going to stop them robbing people or doing these kind of things or being desperate. That's going to help the situation, isn't it? And on top of that, it's even more ridiculous than that, okay? Because you're not then punishing people for looting or rioting. You're punishing people for being shit at looting and rioting, because you're only going to punish the ones that get caught, aren't you? The ones that didn't bother wearing a face mask, the ones that didn't bother thinking about where the CCTV cameras are, the ones that didn't organise and get to the places where the police weren't. Where the police were just standing off, by the way, this is reports coming from all over London and other towns where this is happening as well, is that police have just been stepping back and letting this happen for a long period of time. And, it's not big muscular men with machine guns doing the looting. No, on the whole, generalising a little bit, but it seems to be kids, teenagers and girls as well. So, and we've seen footage of police just stood there waiting for the riot cops in the big vans with the shields and the pepper spray and the rubber bullets to come. The normal policemen, they're not doing anything to kind of stop it. So that's a bit dodgy. You could make the argument there that it kind of helps the argument that will definitely be put forward, is that, and in fact it already is being put forward by people like Boris Johnson, that they need to increase police spending, stop the cuts to the spending, increase police spending, and no doubt bring in more and more, extreme kind of measures to guard against these things or to deal with these situations. So yeah, stopping the benefits of people that are caught and convicted of rioting or looting is only going to punish the ones that are shit at it. All the ones that are really good at it and got away and didn't get caught, nothing's going to happen to them. So it's fucking ridiculous knee-jerk reaction. And there's been a lot of knee-jerk reaction going on. And like in the previous video I did, yeah, you can speak to the looters and tell them why it's a stupid thing to do it, yeah? There's a bigger picture here, and that's what I've been arguing all day yesterday. And that is, the situation that created this type of underclass, okay? Yes, the behaviour is unacceptable, okay? But so is creating a generation of uneducated, uncouth, unemployed, underclass with no prospects, okay? When you try and understand this kind of situation, that doesn't mean that you advocate for it. It doesn't mean that you, condone it, okay? As Boo Boo Nation said in a tweet yesterday, she says, don't be surprised when the people society treats like trash, treat society as trash and proceed to trash it. Yeah, don't be surprised, because this is what's happened here. I mean, these people might not be acting with an actual conscious political intent, okay? They might not think, yeah, fuck the man, this is what I'm doing. A lot of it is just directionless anger, directionless, wanton destruction and doing it for the laughs, yeah. They might not be aware of why they're in that situation to be acting like that, okay? That doesn't mean that you can't zoom out and analyse why they are like that, okay? This kind of shit doesn't happen in a functioning society. It doesn't happen in a society where people are, you know, working and happy with their lives and getting on with it. So their behaviour is a symptom of a diseased society. Okay? You know, you can't cure a disease by cutting off the scabs, yeah? And that's what people are basically doing when they're just focusing all the attention on the looters and saying how fucking terrible they are. Yes, it's unacceptable. But zoom out. If you're going to have any kind of integrity in terms of trying to deal with a problem and trying to move forward and trying to progress, trying to improve society, you need to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Why are those people in that situation? So I'm going to leave a link in the lower bar to some other videos talking about the bigger picture aspects of this situation. Okay, now I'm not going to repeat things that you might have already heard. I'm trying to bring out things in this video that I've not myself heard said elsewhere on YouTube so far in our community. But yeah, in the last video I didn't talk about the bigger picture, although I did include some screen caps of tweets by my friend Terry Strange. The last one especially hit home on something that I kind of found frustrating, which is, yeah, you notice how people en masse tend to just get outraged when violence is committed by the powerless, never the powerful. And that is something that's kind of disgusted me here. There's been an absolute outpouring of outrage at the violence and theft perpetrated by basically the powerless. Yeah, the underclass, okay? You want to call it that. But where is the rage? Where is the outrage at, you know, the violence, murder and theft on a grand scale, on an infinitely larger scale by our governments? If you compare this to things like Libya, okay, Iraq, Afghanistan, okay, government-sanctioned invasions, stealing an entire country's worth, wealth, productivity, murder of hundreds of thousands of civilians, basically stealing an entire country's wealth, okay? It's the same thing on a much grander scale. It's exactly the same. Smash and grab. Okay, it's not exactly the same thing because our politicians are far better practiced at making excuses for it and justifying, okay? Whereas the kids on the street is just mindless and directionless, okay? But I guess you could make an argument that at least the mindless directionless is at least honest in some way, whereas you know, the things we've seen done on a grand scale by our politicians and military is far more kind of shady. But I'm being serious here. How can you expect a youth that is unprovided for, unrespected, unlistened to, okay, unable to do what they need to do to sort their lives out? How can you expect those people to have a respect for society at large when all you have to do is read the papers and see jubilous celebrations of theft, murder, robbery, violence on a grand scale, sanctioned by the government and celebrated by all? Okay, how do you expect in a culture like that for them to have any different response to a situation where they are perfectly able to take advantage of a crazy situation in which there will be no repercussions for a bit of fun, a bit of smash and grab? Yeah. So yeah, but understanding this situation is not advocacy, okay? Understanding, analysis is not advocacy, is not condoning what's going on, okay? Let's zoom out, and like the people in the comments on my last video, thank you very much for being that kind of insightful. We need to have a look at why this is happening and what we need to do to get out of it. But that's all for today. Okay, speak to you later, bye bye.